Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is Six Path Weeb. The line between a hero and a villain is often just a matter of perspective, and today, we are pushing that line to its absolute breaking point. We are picking up right where we left off and diving back into the darkness with part 2 of our fanfic scenario. What if Naruko became a villain in BNHA? Just a quick reminder before we begin, the content on this channel is purely for entertainment and discussion purposes. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credits go to their respective creators and copyright holders. With that out of the way, let's dive right in. The cheerful melody of a morning cartoon was the first thing Naruko heard when she woke up. Blinking a few times to clear the sleep from her eyes, she noticed a gentle warmth on both of her sides. Ochako was resting peacefully on her right shoulder, and Pony was curled up snugly on her left. "Wah," Naruko mumbled softly. Then, she remembered last night. They had been curled up together on the couch, sharing stories about her past, and must have drifted off to sleep right in the middle of a movie. "Mochi King, get in my belly," Ochako mumbled in her sleep. Naruko could not help but giggle. The soft sound caused the other girls to stir. Ochako blinked sleepily at the television screen, then looked around at how they were all huddled together. "Did we all fall asleep at the exact same time?" she asked, gently rubbing the sleep from her eyes. "It looks like it," Naruko replied with a warm smile. "Too early," Pony murmured, snuggling closer to Naruko's side with her eyes still closed. "Sleep more." A tiny, quiet snore escaped her. "What time is it now?" the gravity-wielding girl asked through a yawn. Naruko tapped a button on the remote control to check the screen. "It is 5:29. Wait, we are going to be la." Ochako nearly jumped up in a panic before she remembered. "Oh, never mind. We do not have school today or tomorrow because of the sports festival." It was the day of the second-year student sports festival. Goodness, that almost gave me a fright. She rested her head back on Naruko's shoulder. "Do you want to go watch the festival from the stadium?" "No, thank you," Naruko answered warmly but firmly. "Everyone will probably just ask me lots of questions about my past if they see me there." As if on cue, the cartoon ended and the morning news began, with the cheerful anchors discussing the exciting events of the first-year sports festival from the day before. "Ah, right." Ochako nodded in understanding and turned the television off. "I suppose we can stay inside and watch it on TV later. I am going to sleep for just a little bit longer." "Good luck catching the Mochi King," Naruko teased gently. "I will." Ochako muttered sleepily, before her eyes suddenly flew open in surprise. Wait, how did you know?" "You talk in your sleep," Naruko replied, and Ochako's cheeks turned a rosy pink from gentle embarrassment. An hour later, the girls were up and ready for the day. "I am making eggs," Pony called out from the bright, sunny kitchen. "Would anyone like some?" "Yes, please," Ochako answered eagerly. "I will have a little breakfast, too," Naruko said, sitting at the dining table with a warm bowl of noodles. "Oh, that reminds me of something," Ochako said, turning to Naruko with a bright, curious expression. "You mentioned before that you have 9 tails now, but I only see one big one. I usually merge them together so they are easier to carry around," Naruko reminded her. "Right." Ochako looked at the thick, fluffy tail resting behind the blonde girl. Pony turned around from the stove, bringing plates of scrambled eggs to the table. "Could we see all 9? Ochako asked politely. "Sure." Naruko smiled. Her thick tail gave a little wiggle and a joyful shimmy before it gracefully separated into 9 long, beautifully bushy tails that fanned out behind her. "Wow, they can stretch out?" Ochako asked in amazement as she and Pony noticed a few of the tails extending much further than their normal length. "Yep," Naruko said playfully. One of her tails stretched all the way across the kitchen, gently opened a drawer, picked out 3 forks with amazing precision, and carefully brought them back to the table for everyone. "One tail is super strong, too." "That is fantastic." Pony cheered happily. The 2 girls watched with wide eyes as Naruko's tails joyfully twirled back together, forming one fluffy tail once again. "It really is," Ochako agreed as they enjoyed their wonderful breakfast. Naruko noticed how comfortably her friends sat right beside her, feeling a warm sense of belonging. After washing their dishes, the 3 teenagers moved into the common room. They settled onto the cozy couch to watch the sports festival. Soon, the energetic voice of the announcer boomed from the television, introducing the different classes. "And now for our representatives," the referee announced on the screen. "From Class 2A. Wait a second." Ochako sat up quickly, looking surprised as a boy stepped onto the screen. She turned to Naruko. "2A? I thought you said your teacher sent that entire class home last year." Was it just a trick? He did send them home on the first day, Naruko explained to her confused friend. But then he brought them all back a few days later. He said it was a special lesson to teach them to take their challenges seriously. She gave a little sigh. I still think it is a very silly way to teach a lesson. Oh, I see. Ochako blinked at her, then rested her head on Naruko's shoulder with a dramatic but playful sigh. This school is full of surprises. Welcome to the club, Naruko laughed, wrapping a friendly arm around Ochako's shoulders as Pony snuggled happily against her other side. They watched the older students navigate a giant, colorful obstacle course. Suddenly, Naruko realized how close she was sitting to her friends. A wave of shyness washed over her. Wanting a quick moment to collect her thoughts, she gently stood up.
I am going to get a glass of water, she said softly, walking into the kitchen and feeling a flutter of pleasant, yet confusing, emotions.
Naruko? She blinked and turned around at the sound of Ochako's voice. Both girls were standing at the kitchen doorway, looking at her with sweet, caring expressions. Are you all right? Ochako asked. Huh? Naruko tilted her head. Yes, I am. Why do you ask? You have been in here for a long time, Pony pointed out, gently placing a hand on Naruko's shoulder. You are missing the big race. What? I am? Naruko glanced at the clock and realized she had been standing by the sink for over 10 minutes. Oh, my goodness. I guess I was daydreaming. Are you sure you are okay? You look so lost in thought, Ochako said gently. Were you thinking about last night? Did talking about your past make you feel sad? No, Naruko shook her head, her blonde pigtails bouncing. I was thinking about something else. Something that feels wonderfully confusing. About what? The brunette asked, tilting her head. About myself, Naruko admitted with a soft sigh. For a long time, whenever people tried to give me a hug or sit close to me, I did not know how to react. I usually just pushed them away. Oh. Pony quickly pulled her hand away from Naruko's shoulder, looking incredibly sorry. I am so sorry. I did not know. No, it is perfectly fine, Naruko reassured her quickly, giving Pony a warm smile. That is exactly what I mean. I do not understand why I feel so comfortable when we sit together like that. Just a few minutes ago, I let you snuggle up next to me, and I put my arm around Ochako like it was the most natural thing in the world. Ochako tapped her chin thoughtfully. Maybe it is because you know you are safe with us, she suggested kindly. Maybe in the past, you did not know how to handle it when people wanted to be nice to you. But now, you realize that it feels nice to be hugged by friends who truly care about you. Naruko's bright blue eyes widened a little. You think so? She looked thoughtful. Maybe you are right. I think so. Ochako smiled brightly. So, what should we do now? Should we just let things happen naturally, or would you like us to be more careful about giving you hugs? I think we should. Naruko paused, a gentle smile spreading across her face. Just let things happen naturally. We will figure it out together as we go. If that is okay with both of you? Of course. Ochako nodded happily. Yes, Pony agreed, bobbing her head. But Naruko, please tell us if you ever need a little space, and we will happily step back. I will, Naruko promised. Oh, the next event is starting soon, Ochako noted, hearing the energetic music from the television. Let's go back and watch. I will be right there, Naruko promised, pouring her glass of water. Do not take too long. Pony chimed in as they headed back to the couch. Naruko joined them a moment later. She smiled warmly at her friends, who had left a perfect spot right in the middle for her. She happily sat down, and they all settled in to watch the rest of the colorful sports festival. Hey, Naruko, do you know any of the older students? Ochako asked curiously. Just a handful, Naruko replied. They used to try to ask me so many questions when I first arrived. If I had not made up a polite excuse to get some quiet time during my first few weeks, they probably would have visited our dorm every single day. What kind of excuse did you use? Pony asked, her eyes bright with curiosity. I told them I needed to focus entirely on getting to know my own classmates, Naruko giggled softly. Well, that is very true now. Ochako pointed out with a cheerful hum. After all, we have been getting along so wonderfully since we moved in together. Naruko blushed slightly but nodded in happy agreement. Are these older students going to be heroes too? Ochako asked. Most of them are, Naruko answered. I am sure you will meet them all soon enough. I cannot wait to meet your friends. Pony cheered. Me too. Ochako beamed. They are not quite my friends yet, Naruko murmured bashfully, though she unconsciously shifted closer to Pony until their shoulders touched in a friendly, comfortable way. And time is up. The announcer's voice cheered from the television. The three girls spent the rest of the afternoon enjoying the exciting events together. When it was finally over, Ochako stretched her arms up high. That was fun, but it felt much calmer than our festival yesterday. It really did, Pony agreed. They both looked over at the blonde girl with the fluffy tail. Naruko just smiled. It certainly was not her fault she had breezed through all her own events so quickly the day before. So, what should we do now? Pony asked, looking between her two friends. I think I'm going to work on some homework, Ochako said, standing up. Would you like to study together? Yes, please. I definitely need some help. The blonde exchange student said, hopping up eagerly. I am going to stay here and read, Naruko said, picking up a colorful book from the coffee table. I already finished my homework. But. She looked down, a shy but genuine smile on her face. Feel free to ask me for help, if you want to. We absolutely will, thank you. Ochako beamed at her, and Pony gave a happy cheer. Naruko gently scratched her cheek with her finger, feeling incredibly warm and happy inside. For some wonderful reason, it felt as though invisible, joyful sparkles were floating all around her. The next morning, Naruko was flipping some eggs when Pony trudged sleepily into the kitchen. Good morning, Tsunotori. Morning, Naru. Pony approached her to give her a gentle hug from behind, resting her chin near Naruko's shoulder. What are you making? An omelet, she answered. Would you like me to make you one? Yes, please. She released her with a yawn and trudged to her chair at the table, nearly dozing off. What time did you go to bed last night? Naruko asked her, cracking an egg over the pan. Late. Pony yawned again. I was watching my favorite anime. So you were binge-watching anime last night? She guessed, and the sleepy girl nodded just as Ochako showed up. Good morning, Naruko, Tsunotori, Ochako greeted them brightly. Chako, morning. The blonde girl stretched her arms out sleepily as the brunette got close enough to share a warm hug. I'm making an omelet for myself and Tsunotori. Do you want one too? Naruko asked without looking away from the pan. No, thank you. The brunette gave her a one-armed side hug before fetching a cereal box from the cabinet. I'll have some cereal. Naruko gave her a light nod as the brunette took a seat across from Pony with her bowl of cereal, right before Naruko joined them with 2 plates. Here you go, Tsunotori. She placed a plate in front of the girl. Thanks. Pony broke the omelet with her fork before lifting her head up to look at Naruko. Call me Pony. Huh? Naruko blinked at her, and Ochako did the same. Call me Pony, she repeated with a soft smile. Oh. Naruko blinked again before shrugging her shoulders good-naturedly. All right, I will. You too, Raka, Pony said, turning her head to the brunette. Sure, Pony, Ochako smiled. As long as you call me Ochako. Both of you. Her gaze shifted to include Naruko. Okay. The visiting student brightened up, while her fellow blonde shrugged her shoulders again with a gentle smile. Great. The brunette's smile widened before she checked the time. The third-year sports festival is on at the same time as yesterday, right? Yes, Naruko confirmed. And it ends at the same time. So it's going to be about 6 hours or so, then? Ochako tapped her cheek with a hum. We should make some popcorn and snacks before it starts. Blankets, Pony muttered sleepily. And blankets, the gravity girl giggled. I thought they were kidding about the blankets, Naruko thought to herself. She stared down at a large fleece blanket that covered the teenagers' legs as they sat together on the couch, Ochako in the middle, in front of the television with bowls of snacks on the table. She recognized it as one of the many warm blankets from the common room's closet. Pass me the popcorn, Ochako asked, and the fox-tailed blonde girl handed the bowl over to her. Thanks. Pony leaned on her side slightly to scoop some popcorn from the bowl as the third-year students raced on television. They watched in comfortable silence until the brunette gasped in surprise. Wow, did you see how fast that student was running? I almost missed it. He is very fast, Naruko replied smoothly. That third-year student is famous for having an incredible speed quirk. Is he the fastest in the school? The brunette asked in awe. Probably, Naruko chuckled, and they watched some more of the exciting events. Ochako, can I rest my head on your lap? Pony asked. Yeah, go ahead. Ochako set the half-empty bowl of popcorn on the table, and the blonde girl laid her head down on the smiling gravity girl's lap, curling up under the blanket. Comfy? Yes. Pony nestled happily against her friend. So comfy. Good. The brunette laughed softly before she noticed Naruko glancing over. You can lean on me too, if you want. Naruko was slightly startled from getting caught looking. And no, thank you. The blonde girl's gaze snapped back to the television for a moment before she muttered softly, "But I'll keep it in mind." "All right then." Ochako gave her a bright smile before turning back to watch the sports festival together. When the tournament matches began, she noticed that Pony had fallen asleep on her lap, and Naruko was lowering the volume using the remote. "Should I turn it down a little more?" Naruko whispered to her. "Yeah, after all, it is present mic announcing," the brunette replied as the fox-tailed girl lowered the volume a couple of times. "So, who are you rooting for?" "I'm kind of leaning toward the girl with blue hair. She was pretty amazing in the last event." "No one in particular." Naruko shrugged her shoulders. "Because they are all so talented, it's hard to guess who will win." She muttered playfully, "The upperclassmen are always so impressive." "Who is she rooting for?" Ochako raised her eyebrow playfully, about to ask, but got distracted by the first battle as soon as it started. An hour went by, and the gravity girl had to hold a certain blonde steady. It turned out that Pony liked to move around in her sleep. Ochako didn't want her to roll off the couch. "I wish we had a really wide couch," she chuckled softly. "Like a sofa bed, or, one of those fancy ones that can be arranged in any shape and size." "A sectional couch?" Naruko suggested. "Yes, that's the one." She pointed her finger at her with a nod before tapping her cheek thoughtfully. "So it's called a sectional couch. I wish we had one here." They watched the rest of the third event until it ended with a very energetic blonde teenager winning first place. "Yup, called it." Naruko smiled, changing the channel as the festival ended. She got up with a light stretch. "I'm going to order something for dinner." "Pizza, or?" "Pizza." Ochako chimed in. "Pizza, where?" Pony lifted her head sleepily, looking right and left until she saw the different channel on the television. She pouted slightly. "Oh, did I miss it?" "You slept right through it," the brunette smiled. "But it's okay, you can catch up on it later." Pony bobbed her head sleepily before facing her friends. "Pizza? I'm ordering pizza for dinner." "What kind do you want?" Naruko asked, and the girls gave her their answers before she placed the order on her phone. "It will be here in about 30 minutes or so." She sat back down on the couch. "We're going back to school tomorrow, right?" Ochako folded the blanket up as she glanced at her from the corner of her eye. "Yeah." Naruko exhaled deeply. "Back to busy classes once again." "We are here for you," Pony said, turning to her, while their brunette friend nodded her head rapidly. "I know." Naruko patted the blonde girl's head, and Pony nuzzled happily against her hand. "So cute." Naruko thought, smiling warmly. "I think some of our classmates will want to come over and see you," the gravity girl said. "Do you want me to help manage the visitors, or?" "Just help me make sure it doesn't get too loud," Naruko replied gently. "I think I just want a peaceful day." "Gotcha." Ochako nodded in understanding, and they watched their show until the pizza arrived. An hour after dinner, Pony gave her friends a goodnight hug before heading back to her bedroom to turn in early. The brunette also decided to go to bed, hugging Naruko goodnight. The fox-tailed blonde blinked thoughtfully before shrugging her shoulders. She pulled her smartphone out of her pocket, sending a quick text to her friends as she took the elevator up to her room for a good night's rest. The next morning, the trio walked toward the school. Both girls could not help but notice some people carrying boxes past them. "Is someone moving into the dorms?" Ochako glanced over her shoulder at the movers walking toward the dorm buildings in the distance. She found it curious, as it was uncommon for anyone to move in during the middle of the school year. "Who knows?" Naruko shrugged her shoulders playfully. As they reached the school building, they noticed many students sneaking admiring glances at the fox-tailed blonde, whispering in awe. "I am glad everyone is being so polite today," the gravity girl smiled as they walked through the brightly lit hallway. Once Class 1A's sign came into view, she turned to her friends. "See you guys later." "Later." Pony waved back, and the fox-tailed blonde lifted her hand in a cheerful wave as the brunette entered her classroom. The two blondes continued walking until they reached the door of their own classroom. Pony glanced at her friend. "Do you want to wait?" She did not know if Naruko needed a little time to prepare herself for all the attention. "Nope." Naruko opened the door with a bright smile, and 17 pairs of eyes turned to her almost in unison. "Oh, good morning, Naruko," Yosetsu greeted warmly. The girls noticed that Tetsu was not in his seat yet. "I guess everyone saw the news," Naruko chuckled softly, noticing their curious faces. "Well, you were on the front page. We could not help but read about your amazing rescue." Juzo scratched his cheek with his index finger, feeling a little shy about bringing it up. "It is completely fine." The fox-tailed blonde walked to her desk and sat down comfortably. "I appreciate everyone caring about me so much." I am just really happy to be back here with all my friends. We are so glad you are safe, Kosei smiled brightly. Naruko nodded in gratitude, resting her cheek on her hand as she looked out the sunny window with a peaceful expression. Did any of you get recognized by people on your way to school today? Jiroda adjusted his glasses to cheerfully change the topic. Yes, I did. Kojiro answered happily from the back. Some people were cheering my name on the way here, Setsuna shared with a proud grin. We became the center of attention for just one day, Manga said excitedly. UA really is amazing. The morning bell rang, and the students quickly took their seats just as their homeroom teacher entered the room holding a clipboard. Good morning, class, Vlad King greeted before clearing his throat. I have a few announcements to make. First, Tetsu has decided to transfer to a different course to pursue a new dream. Wow, really? Kosei looked surprised, raising his hand. Yes, he transferred right after the tournament to focus on his new goals, the teacher answered kindly. I wish him the best, Naruko murmured softly, hoping her former classmate would find happiness on his new path. Second, Vlad King continued, we have a transfer student joining us from another hero academy. Come in. The door slid open, and the students watched with interest as their new classmate walked in. Please introduce yourself to the class, the teacher instructed. The new student was a girl with pale skin, lovely cat-like bluish lavender eyes, and straight periwinkle hair that reached her waist in an elegant style. She wore the standard female UA uniform with black leggings. Hello, my name is Intella Psycho, the new girl smiled politely, her tone full of quiet confidence. I transferred here from Sei Academy. It is wonderful to meet you all. Are you going too? Kosei's hand shot up eagerly. Save your questions for the break between classes, Vlad King gently halted the eager questions, knowing they had a lot to cover. He pointed to an empty desk. Intella, please take your seat. Yes, sir, Psycho walked to her desk with perfect posture. Now, today's hero informatics period is going to be a little different, Vlad King announced. A wave of excitement rolled through the room. You get to come up with your code names. In other words, you are picking your hero names. Alright, yes. Setsuna cheered as half the class clapped in excitement. Settle down, the teacher smiled, motioning with his hands. This is related to the draft nominations made by pro heroes for your upcoming workplace experience. The nominations you receive this year are a wonderful way for pros to show they are interested in your bright futures. He paused thoughtfully. Keep in mind, heroes often change their agency focus by the time you graduate. Or they might relocate to a different city, Naruko added helpfully, and a few students nodded in agreement. Exactly. So it is more like an ongoing journey, Sen noted thoughtfully. Yes, Vlad King turned to the blackboard with a remote in his hand. Now, the tally of nominations is as follows. He clicked a button, and a list appeared on the board along with tally numbers. The students eagerly scanned it for their names. Wow, Naruko. The gyrating teenager gasped in pure amazement, turning to the blonde and pointing at the board. Over 100,000? Her score was in the 6 digits. I did not know you could get nominations from overseas, Itsuka stared in awe. Are they all international? Most of them are, Vlad King clicked the remote again, adjusting the screen to show local statistics. It seems heroes from all over the world are eager to guide our bright student. 302, Pony smiled to herself when she spotted her name, wondering how many Ochako had received. Whoa, I got this many? Ochako's eyes widened in another classroom, having been placed in second with a little over 3,000. Shoto Todoroki had taken first place with over 4,000. That is wonderful. Tsuyu encouraged her friend. You did amazing in the tournament. Yeah, Naruko is definitely one of the most inspiring students in school, Mashirao mentioned from across the hall. One of? Rikido chuckled lightly. She might just be the most inspiring. Back in class 1A, Katsuki sighed quietly upon seeing his name near the bottom, determined to work even harder next time. Regardless of whether you received many nominations or just a few, you will all receive a list of wonderful hero agencies willing to take you on for your workplace experience, Vlad King reassured Class 1B. You will get a taste of the pro lifestyle, and it will be an incredible learning opportunity for everyone. And we need hero names for that, right? Hiryu asked eagerly. This is going to be so much fun, Yosetsu grinned. Of course, temporary placeholder names are perfectly fine for now, Vlad King tapped the podium with his clipboard. But they have to be appropriate and positive. Because if they are not, it will be very confusing for everyone. Midnight suddenly stepped into the room, surprising the students and even their teacher. Midnight? Why are you here instead of Snipe? Were you not supposed to cover Class 1A? Vlad King asked in mild surprise. We decided to do a fun little swap. The glamorous heroine chirped cheerfully. A hero's name. What in the world? Shota whispered, looking down at Snipe, who was peacefully taking a nap right outside the classroom door. Glancing up and down the quiet hallway, he let out a soft sigh. Oh, goodness, Kayama. Always full of surprises, he murmured, quickly catching on to her playful antics. It is time to pick your names. Midnight announced with bright enthusiasm, stepping up to the podium and brushing her dark hair over her shoulder. The names you choose today are how the world will know you. More often than not, these names stick with you even after you become professional heroes. Kosei stared at her in pure admiration. She makes a wonderful point, Vlad King added, clearing his throat politely as he handed a stack of whiteboards to the front row to be passed back. Midnight Sensei will be evaluating the names you present. The path your future takes will closely reflect the meaning behind the name you choose. A perfect example of this is All Might. Immediately, several students uncapped their markers and began writing, while others tapped their chins, thoughtfully jotting down ideas and gently erasing the ones that did not quite fit. I cannot wait to see what our amazing students come up with, Midnight beamed, leaning over with a joyful smile. They are truly a remarkable group, Vlad King agreed softly. Setsuna tilted her head with a curious smile. Our teachers sure are spirited today. Who knows why? Kanoko giggled, playfully tapping her cheek with her whiteboard marker. They are such silly goofballs, Naruko whispered with a warm smile, her blonde foxtail swaying gently behind her. Her cheerful remark earned a few giggles from the friends sitting nearby. Presenting to the class. After about 15 minutes of brainstorming, Midnight clapped her hands together to gather the class's attention. All right, everyone. It is time for those who are ready to share their names with the class. The room filled with a sudden wave of nervous energy. No one wanted to be the first to present, until one brave student confidently walked up to the front. Rule, Yui said clearly, holding up her neatly written whiteboard. Simple and perfectly fitting. Midnight cheered, giving her a big thumbs up as Yui calmly returned to her desk. Who is next? Encouraged by Yui's bravery, the rest of the class began to feel much more relaxed and eager to share. Juzo, Mudman, he presented with a proud smile. Ibara, I thought about going with Maria, but I decided that Vine suits my nature best, she explained gracefully. Kanoko, Shemage. She chirped happily. Togaru, Jack Mantis, he stated proudly. Manga, Comic Man, he said, tapping his board with a grin. Setsuna, Lizardy, she winked playfully. Nato, Phantom Thief, he declared with dramatic flair. Hear you, Long Wisey, he presented. It means Dragon Shroud. Kojiro, P. Plamo, he offered shyly. Reiko, Emily, she said in a quiet, mysterious tone. Kosei, Subaraba, he smiled, rubbing the back of his neck. Rockety. Pony cheered as she showed her board, before happily skipping back to her desk and turning to Naruko. What do you think of my name? It is a beautiful name, Naruko replied kindly. The exchange student's eyes sparkled with joy before she noticed that Naruko's whiteboard was completely blank. No name yet? Pony asked, tilting her head. Not yet, the fox-tailed blonde girl shrugged gently. I was thinking I might just use my real name. Oh. Let me help you, Pony offered with a bright smile, placing a finger on her chin as she thought hard. What would be a good name for you? Oh. Swirl. Swirl? Naruko raised an eyebrow, clearly amused. Yes, Swirl. Pony nodded, before pausing. Wait, no. Uzu. Uzuma. Uzumaki, she snapped her fingers playfully. Uzumaki? Naruko asked softly. Yes, Uzumaki. Pony beamed, feeling very proud of her idea. Because you are like a tornado. You bring a storm of excitement to the festival. It is so cool and awesome. Nearby, Yasetsu stepped up to the front. Welder, he announced. Naruko looked down at her board, then wrote the suggestion down. Uzumaki, she presented to the class with a calm, happy expression. Several students smiled at the fitting name, and Pony cheered quietly from her seat. Next, Jirota stepped up, adjusting his glasses. Gévaudan. It is a reference to the beast of Gévaudan. Are you sure you want to use that name? Midnight asked kindly. Some people might think of spooky stories when they hear it. I am quite sure, the polite, beast-like student nodded. I want to show everyone that even a scary-sounding hero can have a kind and noble heart. That is a wonderful goal, Midnight praised. The presentations continued smoothly. Itsuka chose Battle Fist, Psycho went with Professor Q, Shihai picked Vantablack, and Sen decided on Drillman, having neatly erased the word spiral to ensure he did not accidentally copy anyone else. Fantastic. Now everyone has a special hero name. Midnight clapped her hands cheerfully. She then spent the next few minutes explaining the importance of hero code names and how they inspire hope in society. Sorting the mail. Later, the students received big stacks of envelopes containing internship offers from professional heroes. I hope there is one from a glamorous rescue hero, Kosei said, eagerly looking through his letters. Which of the 40 agencies do you think I should choose? Sen asked Itsuka and Jirota. With your amazing skills, I think a rescue or urban teamwork agency would be a great fit, Itsuka suggested thoughtfully. I completely agree, Jirota nodded. Across the room, Juzo stared in awe at the massive stack of boxes surrounding Naruko's desk. Goodness, that is a lot of letters. Yes, it will take her quite a while to read through all of those, Kojiro said, his eyes wide. Oh my goodness, is that a letter from All Might? Setsuna gasped. Naruko gently opened the golden envelope, smiled at the contents, and neatly set it into a maybe pile. Then, using her wind quirk, she created a tiny, sparkling breeze that gathered the letters she did not want and whisked them perfectly into the classroom's recycling bin. Wow, you got one from Endeavor and Hawks, too? Setsuna asked in amazement. I am only keeping the ones that really fit my goals, Naruko explained cheerfully, guiding another batch of paper into the recycling bin with a soft gust of wind. Could you please make sure none of them blow away? Ibara asked politely. With a gentle twirl of her fingers, Naruko formed a miniature, polite whirlwind that stacked every single discarded envelope flawlessly into the bin. The area around her desk was spotlessly clean by the time the lunch bell rang. New friendships in the cafeteria. Naruko stood up, ready for a delicious meal, and Pony happily followed her. Excuse me, are you two heading to the cafeteria? Saiko asked, standing up from her desk with a sweet smile. If so, would you mind showing me the way? Of course. Come with us, Pony welcomed her warmly. Naruko nodded in agreement, eager to get her favorite bowl of ramen. What do you think of UA so far? Pony asked the new girl, hoping she was enjoying her first day. I think it is absolutely wonderful, Saiko replied gracefully. Though I am sure our heroic foundation class will be the true test. She noticed a few students whispering and pointing at them in the hallway. Oh my, I must apologize. I seem to be attracting quite a bit of attention today. Oh, please do not worry, Naruko said with a reassuring laugh. They are likely just talking about the sports festival. It was a very big event. I actually did not have time to watch the festival on television because I was busy moving, Saiko explained. I guessed you must have done very well, given how many internship offers you received. Oh, you really did not see it? Naruko smiled, her fox tail swishing happily. Well, I will have to tell you all about it over lunch. Hello there. Ochako jogged up to the trio with a bright, welcoming grin. Are you heading to lunch too? She paused, noticing the new student. Oh, hello. This is our new classmate, Saiko, Naruko introduced her. We are showing her to the cafeteria. Hi, I am Ochako Uraka from Class 1A. The cheerful brunette greeted her. Hello, my name is Saiko Intella. It is so lovely to meet a fellow heroine in training, Saiko replied kindly. Would you all like to sit together? Ochako offered enthusiastically. Yes, please. Pony cheered. I would love to get to know you better, Saiko agreed. That sounds like a wonderful idea, Naruko smiled. Let's find a cozy spot near the windows. What are you all planning to eat? Ochako asked as they joined the cafeteria line. I think I will have the standard bento, but with extra rice. Burgers and pizza, Pony declared. Tasty foods. I will have to review the menu before deciding, Saiko hummed thoughtfully. Ramen, of course. Naruko cheered happily. I should have guessed, Ochako giggled. Does your amazing quirk make you crave ramen? Nope, I just really love it, Naruko said proudly. As they reached the front of the line, Lunch Rush handed Naruko her bowl and playfully made a heart shape with his hands. Naruko beamed and made a heart shape right back, leaving the chef absolutely delighted as he happily served the rest of the students. That table over there looks perfect, Ochako pointed to a sunny spot by the window. Once they sat down, the girls began to chat about their internship offers. How many nominations did you get, Naruko? I received around 3,000. That is amazing. Pony smiled widely. I got 302. Our teachers mentioned they had to help sort through them because so many came from overseas, Saiko added. Who are you thinking of working with, Ochako? Naruko asked before taking a polite sip of her noodles. I am thinking of joining Gunhead's agency, Ochako shared. If I learn more ways to be strong, I can help even more people. That is incredibly wise of you, Saiko praised her with a respectful nod. I think I will go with Airjet, Pony tapped her chin. He can fly, and I really want to learn how to float on my horns. That will be so exciting to watch. Ochako cheered. What about you, Naruko? I have narrowed it down to about 30 great options, Naruko smiled. How did you sort through all those boxes so fast? Ochako asked in awe. She used her wind magic to gently sort them and recycle the rest, Pony explained happily. As the girls enjoyed their food, Pony turned to Psycho. What is your quirk, if I may ask? It is called IQ, Psycho explained proudly. Drinking tea temporarily boosts my intelligence. But even without it, I love learning and studying very much. Wow! Pony and Ochako said in unison. That is so cool, Naruko smiled. Oh, Ochako, what hero name did you pick today? Oravity. Ochako beamed. That is beautiful. It perfectly matches your quirk and your name, Naruko complimented her. The four girls continued to laugh and share stories, enjoying the warmth of their new friendships. Suddenly, a loud clattering noise echoed from the other side of the cafeteria. Oh my, I wonder what that commotion is? Naruko said, standing up with a brave and helpful expression, ready to see if anyone needed assistance. A rough day in the cafeteria. Tetsu had been feeling quite discouraged all week. After moving to the general department following the sports festival, he felt out of place and misunderstood. He didn't quite know how to connect with his new classmates, and the nervous energy of a new environment made him feel incredibly isolated. When he tried to introduce himself, his nerves got the better of him, and he ended up sitting quietly in the back of the room, feeling lonely. Later, while carrying his lunch tray through the bustling cafeteria, he was lost in his own thoughts. He didn't notice another student standing up from a nearby table, and they accidentally bumped elbows. Tetsu's tray clattered to the floor, scattering his lunch everywhere. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. A meek voice stammered. Tetsu looked up to see a student with gentle fox-like features. Overwhelmed by his tough week, his frustration suddenly boiled over. Why don't you watch where you're going? Tetsu shouted loudly, his voice echoing in the cafeteria. He felt his arms tense up, his quirk threatening to activate simply from sheer stress and exhaustion. Before things could escalate, a calm presence stepped between them. Naruko looked gently at the upset boy. Hey, it was just an accident, she said softly, her blue eyes shining with a reassuring light. There is no need to shout at her. Tetsu glared, his shoulders shaking. You don't understand how hard everything has been lately. Instead of arguing, Naruko clasped her hands together and smiled warmly. With a soft hum, she activated a very gentle illusion. Suddenly, the bright and noisy cafeteria faded into a calming, twilight meadow filled with softly glowing fireflies and the gentle sound of a peaceful stream. Tetsu blinked in wonder, his anger melting away into complete surprise as the beautiful lights danced around him. By the time the illusion faded a minute later, Mr. Aizawa had arrived. A calming technique, Naruko? He asked kindly. Yes, Mr. Aizawa, she replied, tucking her hands into her pockets. I think he just needed a moment to breathe and reset. Aizawa nodded and placed a gentle, guiding hand on Tetsu's shoulder, leading him away to talk things out with the school counselor in a quiet space. The comfort of friends. Naruko walked back to her table, where her new friend Psycho was waiting patiently. Is the other girl all right? Naruko asked as she sat down to finish her bowl of noodles. She went to the nurse's office just to wash up and calm down, but she is perfectly fine, Psycho explained politely. Soon, Ochako and Pony joined them with their lunches. She was just a bit startled, but Recovery Girl gave her some warm, sweet tea, Ochako shared with a bright smile. Naruko nodded, relieved to hear that everyone was safe and sound. After school, the girls walked back to their dormitory together. Psycho walked beside them, holding her school bag politely with both hands. I just moved into the dorms today, Psycho mentioned happily. That is wonderful. Ochako cheered. We will get to see you every day on our walk to class. When they entered the common room, Ochako gasped loudly. Whoa! Look at this new couch. Sitting in the center of the room was a massive, incredibly fluffy sectional couch with enough room for everyone in the class to sit comfortably. Naruko sighed with a fond smile and pulled out her phone. I just asked the teachers if we could get a slightly larger couch for our weekend movie nights, and they got a little carried away. She showed them a group chat where their teachers were enthusiastically offering to buy the best, most comfortable furniture available, all simply to make sure Naruko and the students felt perfectly at home. They really care about us, Ochako giggled. The joy of movie night. After a lovely dinner, Pony excitedly suggested they watch an animated movie. Psycho tilted her head, her eyes wide with curiosity. What is an animated movie? She asked politely. Pony gasped playfully. You have never seen one? We must show you immediately. They all gathered on the giant new couch. Ochako and Pony brought out a mountain of soft, warm blankets. As the colorful movie played, Naruko relaxed, leaning back into the cushions. Ochako rested her head on Naruko's left shoulder, while Pony happily leaned against her right side. Saiko watched them, a bit confused. Why are you sitting so close to one another? We are just cuddling, Ochako explained with a warm smile. It is what friends do to feel cozy. Saiko's eyes lit up with wonder. I have spent so much time studying that I never really learned how to make friends or relax, she admitted softly. May I sit with you? Of course, Naruko said kindly, shifting over to make room. Saiko joined the group huddle, a huge, happy smile spreading across her face. I am so glad to have friends like you all, she whispered. A sweet morning surprise. The next morning, the girls walked to school, feeling refreshed and happy from their fun evening. I hope Tetsu is doing better today, Ochako mentioned as the main school building came into view. Mr. Aizawa told me they are helping him find a club that suits his interests so he can make some good friends, Naruko replied happily. Just as they reached the classroom, a tall, polite girl with fluffy teal and white fox ears gently called out to them. It was Josei, the girl from the cafeteria. She shyly handed Naruko a beautifully wrapped box tied with a bright ribbon. Thank you so much for helping me out yesterday, Josei said with a sweet, grateful smile before waving goodbye and hurrying off to her own class. Naruko carefully opened the box to find an assortment of lovely, fox-shaped chocolates. She shared them happily with Ochako, Pony, and Saiko. As they enjoyed the sweet treats, Naruko realized that a little bit of kindness could truly make the whole school feel like a brighter, more wonderful place. We'll have another joint training with Class 1A today, Vlad King informed the students with a bright smile. Go change into your costumes. He gave them the location before sending them out to prepare for the day. What kind of training do you think we'll do? Setsuna wondered aloud as the class walked down the sunny hallway. Rescue exercises, I assume, Itsuka guessed thoughtfully. That must be it, Juzo agreed. Or maybe an obstacle course. I hope it's something active. Togaru cheered, always eager for a good challenge. The students split off to enter the changing rooms. Whoa! Denki blinked rapidly as he saw his friends from the other class. What are you doing here? Your sensei didn't tell you we have joint training again? Sen chuckled lightly as his classmates started getting ready. No, do you know what we're going to do today? Eijiro asked. Aizawa sensei wanted it to be a surprise. Same here, Vlad sensei kept it a secret, Jirota replied, adjusting his glasses. Where is that tricky fox? Katsuki grumbled playfully. He was hoping for a friendly rematch after the sports festival, eager to show how much his skills had improved. Saiko, your costume looks so professional. Ochako gave the new girl a thumbs up as they exited the changing rooms. Thank you. Saiko spun around gracefully. I based my costume on the Seiyai Academy uniform, but I made some key differences for mobility. She wore a dark navy double-breasted blazer with a high collar and long sleeves, bright gold trims, black gloves, a large red bow, black dress pants, a dark navy beret with a gold trim, a golden monocle over her left eye, a pair of black boots, and a neat utility belt. Well, you look really nice, Setsuna complimented her. I know, the genius lifted her chin with a proud, happy smile. Kyoka thought the new girl gave off a very elegant and regal vibe. They met up with the rest of the class on the way to the gym, where they spotted All Might and their homeroom teachers talking with Naruko. What will it take to convince you to submit a request and wear a hero costume? All Might asked Naruko kindly. Or carry some supportive gear, Shota added from behind his scarf. Naruko shook her head, her bright blonde hair swishing. There is nothing in the world that can convince me to wear a cape, she answered politely but firmly. She looked down at her comfortable gym tracksuit. I like my outfit just the way it is. Oh, you're not wearing a costume? Saiko was the first to approach her, and the fox-tailed girl turned to her with a smile. No, I prefer keeping things simple so I can move freely, Naruko explained cheerfully. Today we will have a simple, light training exercise, and that is. All Might's famous grin widened. Quirkless sparring. You will practice safely with each other without using your quirks. The reason for this is to test the limits of your outfits. You never know if a piece of your costume or a certain gadget will get in the way when you're navigating a tricky situation. What? Katsuki huffed, crossing his arms. Without our quirks? How are we supposed to show our full strength? Patience, Bakugo, Shota gave him a calm, guiding look. Heroes must be resourceful. I have a question, Fumikage raised his hand, and All Might gave him an encouraging nod. If one happens to have a tool or specific gear, are they allowed to use it during the exercise? No, this is purely to test your natural agility and movement, All Might replied, giving the bird-headed teenager a thumbs up. It will be a 5-person tag-out match, and the time limit is 5 minutes. Hey, Naruko, Ochako greeted her friend as she walked over to her side. What did Sensei talk to you about earlier? Was it about the adoption? She wasn't sure if Naruko wanted to keep her family news a secret. Naruko giggled softly. Oh, that. No, it was about the costume thing again. It's getting silly how much they want me to dress up. Ochako started to picture Naruko in a giant, colorful All Might costume and covered her mouth with a bright laugh. I just imagined you running around in All Might's bright colors. Oh goodness, that would be way too flashy for me, Naruko laughed along, her fox ears twitching at the funny thought. Who do you think will win the first match? Pony appeared at their sides, tilting her head curiously. I think it will come down to Rikido or Tsuyu, Naruko replied thoughtfully. Tsuyu has excellent balance and jumping skills. I agree, the gravity girl nodded. She's very agile and has wonderful reflexes. The students watched closely as the first friendly match began. It was a wonderful display of acrobatics, and the match ended happily in Tsuyu's victory when she gracefully hopped around and gently guided Rikido out of the ring. You did great, Tsuyu. Ochako pumped her fist up with a wide smile, proud of her friend as the frog girl walked back from the stage. Thank you, Tsuyu smiled brightly. A few matches later, All Might called out the next group. Aoyama, Kaminari, Mineta, Naruko, and Bakugo. Please step up. Katsuki rushed toward the ring, eager to show his speed. As the whistle blew, he zoomed toward Naruko. Here I come. He cheered. Naruko playfully sidestepped his charge. Using her quick reflexes, she gently redirected his momentum, sending him sliding safely out of the ring onto the soft safety mats. Katsuki sat up, blinking in surprise at how quickly she had outmaneuvered him. Now, I'll show you why big capes can be tricky, Naruko giggled. She dashed toward Yuga, carefully grabbing the end of his sparkly cape and wrapping it around him like a shiny, glittering burrito. Unable to untangle himself in time, Yuga laughed as he safely wobbled out of bounds. Denki and Mineta tried to team up, but Naruko was simply too fast. She playfully spun Mineta around by his shoulders until he was dizzy, and he rolled right out of the ring with a silly, dizzy grin. Denki tried to tag her, but she did a graceful backflip and tapped his shoulder, signaling he was out. Wow, Naruko, way to go. Ochako was the first to congratulate her when the blonde girl returned to the group. I never thought of using their capes to gently guide them out like that. Indeed, that is a quite unthinkable but wonderfully clever move, Psycho nodded sagely with a tiny smile. Yes. Pony held her hands up for a high five. You showed them. Thanks, everyone, Naruko gave her friends a double high five, her smile radiating warmth. The rest of the matches went just as smoothly, filled with teamwork, laughter, and great learning experiences. When the exercise ended, All Might clapped his hands together. Excellent work, everyone. Take 5, All Might announced cheerfully. You will have 2 options after the break. 1, you can practice some basic movement techniques with us, or 2, you can do your regular quirk training. What are you going to choose? Juzo asked Naruko curiously. Quirk training, she replied happily. I'm already very comfortable with my movement and balance. I think basic movement is best for me right now, Ochako hummed. It will help me prepare for my upcoming workplace visit. Naruko, about the costume. Vlad King approached the cheerful teenager one last time. I'm really happy with my tracksuit, sensei, Naruko smiled kindly but firmly. Maybe you could submit a request, Pony suggested with a bright idea. You could ask the school to make your favorite tracksuit your official hero costume. Naruko's eyes lit up, her foxtail wagging happily behind her. You know what? That is a brilliant idea. I think I'll try this, Naruko thought to herself, glancing down at her bright orange training outfit. A warm, golden light slowly coated her hands, gradually expanding into a glowing ribbon of shimmering energy. I just need a little more focus. She told herself, gently pouring her energy into the ribbon to make it longer and brighter. Nearby, Katsuki was practicing his spark techniques. Wanting to show off, he aimed a little too close to the blonde girl, trying to surprise her with a loud pop of light. But before the spark could even fly, it vanished completely into thin air. Katsuki, what were you trying to do? His homeroom teacher, Mr. Aizawa, stood there with his arms crossed, watching the training closely. Just practicing my surprise moves, Katsuki grumbled, looking at the ground. Safety comes first in training. You must always watch your surroundings and respect your classmates, Mr. Aizawa gently but firmly reminded him. Take a 5-minute time out on the bench to think about it, Katsuki sighed but nodded, walking over to sit down. Alright, back to your exercises, everyone. Vlad King announced cheerfully, clapping his hands to keep the energy up. Naruko let out a small breath as her golden ribbon fizzled out into tiny sparkles. Oops, lost my concentration. Time to try again, she smiled to herself. Wow, that's a neat trick, Itsuka said, walking by with a friendly wave. When did you learn to make glowing ribbons? Just recently, Naruko replied happily. It's still a work in progress, but I'm getting better every day. Good luck with it. Itsuka smiled before returning to her own practice. After school, Naruko walked down the bright hallway with her friend Ochako. So, you're heading to the support studio to ask for some costume updates? Naruko asked, noticing the carrying case her friend was holding. Yes. I want to see if they can make my boots a bit bouncier, Ochako explained. The original design is a little clunky for jumping, and I think softer pads would help a lot. That makes perfect sense, Naruko nodded in agreement. Did you talk to any of the teachers about it? I asked Mr. Aizawa, and he said it was a great idea to get it adjusted, Ochako replied. What about you? Why are you visiting the studio? I want to add some fun new gadgets to my outfit, the fox-tailed girl beamed. I want to be prepared to help people no matter what. They approached the thick doors of the support studio and stepped inside. Mr. Power Loader was at his desk, tinkering with a mechanical arm on his computer. Excuse me, Mr. Power Loader, Ochako called out politely to get his attention. I'm here to talk about a costume update. The hero turned around and blinked in surprise. Oh, Naruko. What brings you here? Don't tell me you want me to add another glitter cannon to the training field. Ochako giggled, and Naruko laughed cheerfully. No, not this time. Though the great glitter explosion of last Tuesday was pretty spectacular. I'm still sweeping up pink sparkles from the ceiling, Mr. Power Loader sighed with a good-natured smile. Alright, Ochako, let's see what we have. Ochako showed him her plans for the bouncy boots. Mr. Power Loader nodded approvingly, promising to have them ready before the end of the week. And how can I help you, Naruko? He asked, turning his attention to the blonde girl. I'd like to request some new hero gear, she said excitedly. Suddenly, a small pop of colorful confetti went off behind them. A girl with salmon pink hair and shiny goggles rolled out from beneath a workbench. Did someone say they needed new inventions? She cheered, throwing her hands in the air with a massive grin. Wow! Naruko's eyes went wide with wonder. I am Mei Hatsum, the future top inventor of the world. She announced, pushing her goggles up to her forehead. She looked at Naruko and gasped in realization. Oh! You're the amazing runner from the obstacle course. Yep, that's me. Naruko smiled brightly, her foxtail wagging slightly behind her. I have so many gadgets we can test out. Mei grabbed Naruko's hands and eagerly led her toward a table covered in shiny, fascinating tools. Let's make some amazing gear together. Ochako and Mr. Power Loader watched the two energetic girls walk off, both smiling at the enthusiastic new friendship. Later that evening, as Naruko and Ochako walked back to the dormitories, Naruko couldn't stop buzzing with excitement. Mei's gadgets are so incredible, she thought to herself. I can't wait to see what she builds. You look like you're in a great mood, Ochako pointed out with a warm smile. I am. I'm just so excited for the new gear, Naruko replied as she stepped into the elevator. I'll see you downstairs for dinner soon. A few days later, the school's teachers were gathered in the support studio, eagerly waiting. I can't wait to see Naruko's new hero costume, Present Mike said cheerfully, bouncing on his heels. I hope she picked something practical, Mr. Aizawa noted. The curtain to the dressing room was pulled back. Ta-da! Naruko announced, stepping out proudly. The teachers blinked, slightly dazzled. Naruko was wearing a bright, neon orange jacket with matching padded gloves and sturdy boots. It was incredibly vibrant, radiating a cheerful and energetic vibe that matched her personality perfectly. It's very bright, Mr. Aizawa said, shading his eyes playfully. I absolutely love it. Naruko beamed, striking a heroic pose with her hands on her hips. Mei rushed over with an armful of shiny new gear. And here are the super gadgets we talked about. We have the automatic rescue ribbons and the bouncy grappling hooks. Awesome. Let's try them out. Naruko cheered. The teachers couldn't help but smile warmly at her boundless enthusiasm. After changing back into her school uniform, Naruko left the main building. She spotted a familiar face at the gate on the way back to her dorm, but she simply hummed a cheerful tune and took her time enjoying the walk. Naruko entered the dorm building. I'm back. She announced, stepping into the common room. She stopped in her tracks, raising an eyebrow at the bustling sight before her. "Welcome back, Naru." Pony chirped. She was sitting at the low tables with Ochako, Saiko, and several other girls from Class A and Class B. Textbooks, colorful notebooks, and neatly organized papers were spread all over the tables. "Hello, and sorry to intrude. We're having a study session because our dorm is closed for cleaning," Suyu explained gracefully. "We'll be here for about 2 hours. Did you get my message?" Ochako asked curiously. "I haven't checked my phone yet." Naruko fished her phone out of her pocket and saw the texts from her dorm mates about the study group. "Ah, I see. I hope it's okay with you that we're studying here," Saiko added kindly. "That is completely fine," Naruko smiled, waving a hand gently as she walked toward the kitchen. "I'll stay out of your way so you can all focus." "Oh, you don't have to do that," the cheerful gravity girl insisted. "You can join us if you'd like to." "But isn't it a girls-only study group?" Naruko asked, tilting her head. "I saw someone from my class waiting nervously at the gate." What?" Kanoko looked up, startled. Please don't tell me it's Kurohiro." "Who?" the fox-tailed blonde girl asked. "He's the boy with the dark outfit and bright white hair," Itsuka clarified. "Ah, yes, that's him," Naruko nodded. "He's standing near the gate looking very anxious." "Oh no, what am I going to do?" The mushroom girl shrank down, hiding behind a large textbook. "What's wrong?" Mina asked gently. "Kurohiro has been wanting to learn my special mushroom growing techniques, and he gets so overly enthusiastic that it overwhelms me," Kanoko admitted shyly. "He keeps following me around asking for gardening tips, and he even tells the other boys not to ask me questions because he wants to be my #1 gardening apprentice. I haven't figured out how to politely tell him I need some quiet time. So that is why he is always hovering around you," Setsuna realized. "Don't worry, I'll help distract him," Naruko declared with a confident, friendly smile. "Are you going to talk to him?" Kyoka asked. "Even better." Naruko cheered. With a soft, sparkly puff of smoke, a perfect clone of Naruko appeared right next to her. Then, another puff of smoke surrounded the clone, and when it cleared, the clone had magically transformed into a perfect copy of Kanoko. Everyone gasped in amazement. "Off you go," Naruko told her transformed clone playfully. "Lead him on a merry chase to the city's botanical gardens." The clone dashed out of the dorm merrily. "There, problem solved for the afternoon. But you really should tell a teacher so they can help him learn better boundaries, Kanoko." "Oh okay," Kanoko smiled gratefully. "You can use transformation magic?" Ochako asked in absolute wonder. "I can transform into just about anyone or anything," Naruko said proudly, fixing herself a warm bowl of instant ramen. "Is it an illusion, or is it real?" Momo asked, her eyes shining with curiosity. "Can you transform into me so I can check?" Ochako asked. Naruko thought about it for a moment, then with a soft puff of smoke, she transformed into an exact copy of Ochako, still happily holding her ramen noodles. "I'm going to poke your cheek and fluff your hair, is that okay?" The transformed Naruko nodded happily. Ochako gently poked her cheek and ruffled her hair. "Wow! It feels completely real." With another puff of smoke, Naruko returned to her normal self. "I felt that too. It's perfectly solid." "That is such an amazing ability," Itsuka praised. "I'm going to go change into something cozier," Naruko smiled, carrying her ramen to the elevator. The girls watched her go as the silver doors closed with a cheerful ding. "She's so friendly outside of class," the invisible girl noted. "She's really approachable and kind." "Yeah, I get what you mean," Setsuna nodded. "She used to be so quiet when she first transferred." "She's definitely opening up," another girl added softly. "It's wonderful to see her smiling more." Naruko returned a little while later wearing comfortable jeans and a long-sleeved orange turtleneck. She brought a few extra cups of warm ramen with her and sat down cozily on the edge of the large couch. About 20 minutes later, Naruko looked over at Kanoko. "Hey, mushroom friend. My clone successfully led your overly eager apprentice to the grand greenhouse. He is probably happily distracted by all the rare plants there. You won't have to worry about running into him today." "Wow, how do you know that?" Kanoko asked in awe. "I get my clone's memories and experiences when they disappear," Naruko explained, causing everyone to blink in surprise. "Wait, so if your clones study for you, you learn everything they read?" Mina gasped. "Exactly. It's great for practice," Naruko beamed. "If I have 5 clones practicing a new skill for an hour, I get 5 hours of experience." "That is incredibly helpful," Momo noted with admiration. "But surely it must be tiring?" "Yes, it makes me very sleepy if I do it too much," so I make sure to take plenty of naps, Naruko giggled. Your power is super cool, Mina cheered. Is there anything you can't do? Can you summon a rainbow? Naruko paused, looked at the ceiling playfully, and then shrugged. I haven't tried that yet, she laughed. Oh, Naruko, did you hear? Ochako chimed in to steer the conversation gracefully. Bakugo was given a timeout from the hero exercises because he wasn't playing fair during the teamwork game yesterday. Really? Pony asked, tilting her head. Yes, Mr. Aizawa said he needs to learn how to cooperate kindly with others. Momo shook her head gently. It is important that everyone feels safe and respected during practice. I agree, Naruko nodded softly. Being a hero means uplifting everyone around you. It reminds me of how some people are unkind to those without quirks. Momo shared a thoughtful look. My mother doesn't have a quirk, and sometimes people treat her differently. It makes me very sad. That is terrible, Tsuyu sympathized. Everyone is special and deserves kindness, with or without powers. Exactly, Kyoka agreed. We should always strive to be friends who support each other. Let's get back to studying, Itsuka suggested gently. But just then, a lively, cheery tune filled the room. Naruko had turned the television on to a sweet animated cartoon about talking animals. Oh! A new episode. Pony cheered happily. She quickly hopped up and hurried over to the couch, sitting right next to Naruko. I'm taking a break. A break sounds lovely right now, Ochako agreed with a soft laugh. She grabbed some fluffy blankets and sat on Naruko's other side, wrapping the blanket around them. Saiko joined as well, completing the cozy group. You four look so comfy. Tsuyu smiled. It's our friendship cuddle. Ochako beamed warmly. How sweet, Mina giggled. Can I join? Yui asked softly. Of course, Naruko smiled, making room for Yui. The more the merrier. Naruko used to be very shy about hugs, Ochako explained to the others gently. But we learned that if we just sit nicely and share a blanket, she feels very safe and happy. Yes, gentle friendship makes everything better, Pony agreed happily. That's so wonderful to hear, Momo smiled warmly. Hey! Mina's eyes lit up with a brilliant idea. Since we all get along so well, we should totally have a giant sleepover here before our training week begins. Oh, a sleepover? Saiko asked, looking at Naruko curiously. What is that? It's a fun night where friends stay up late, tell fun stories, and sleep in sleeping bags in the living room, Naruko explained, remembering the concept from her favorite cartoons. That sounds delightful, the genius girl clapped her hands. I'll go ask the teachers if we're allowed to host one. Ochako volunteered cheerfully. Yay! Pony cheered, and Naruko offered a happy thumbs up. When it was finally time for the study group to head home, Itsuka and Ibara linked arms with Kanoko. Come on, Kanoko, we'll walk you home to make sure you have a perfectly peaceful evening, Itsuka smiled brightly. Thank you so much, everyone, Kanoko beamed, her worries completely melted away by the warmth of her wonderful friends. A cozy evening in the dorm. Back at the dormitory, Pony cheerfully popped a fresh pizza into the oven for dinner while Ochako, Saiko, and Naruko tidied up the cozy common room. Thank you so much for helping us clean up, Ochako said, offering a bright, appreciative smile to her blonde friend. Oh, it is no trouble at all, Naruko replied kindly, waving a hand dismissively as her fluffy foxtail swayed gently behind her. Saiko neatly stacked her school books and paused, looking at Naruko with gentle concern. Naruko, do you still have a hard time falling asleep at night? Sometimes, Naruko admitted, picking up a few stray floor cushions to stack them neatly in the corner. But it is nothing to worry about. Why don't we have a slumber party tonight? The brilliant girl suggested innocently. We could all bring our blankets together. Sometimes having friends close by makes it much easier to feel peaceful and sleepy. Ochako blinked in surprise, nearly dropping the papers she was holding.
A whole group sleepover?
Of course, Saiko replied, tilting her head with a sweet, puzzled expression. I read that cozying up in a room with your best friends is very calming and brings wonderful dreams. Naruko cleared her throat politely, a light blush dusting her cheeks. That is a very sweet idea, Saiko. I just wonder if it might be uncomfortable for you, Naruko, Ochako chimed in softly. You always wear those long, cozy turtlenecks and gloves. I know you are a little shy about showing your arms. Naruko paused and shook her head with a gentle smile. Actually, I do not mind my arms anymore. I used to hide my unique birthmarks because I worried people would stare or feel bad for me, but I have learned to accept them. That is wonderful to hear. Ochako beamed, and the other girls nodded happily in agreement. Just then, a cheerful ding echoed from the kitchen. Pizza time. Pony announced happily, and the four friends dashed off to enjoy their warm dinner. Morning announcements. The following morning in Class 1B, the students were happily chatting and getting ready for the day. Naruko walked in alongside Pony and Saiko. Spotting her classmate Kanoko at her desk, Naruko gently walked over. "Good morning," Naruko greeted softly. "Did you manage to talk to the teachers about that little problem yet?" "Oh, no, not yet," Kanoko replied, shaking her head timidly. "Please try to tell them by the end of the day," the fox-tailed girl encouraged kindly. "It is for your own good, and they are here to help us. I hope you understand." Kanoko nodded gratefully, appreciating the gentle reminder. Soon after, Vlad King stepped up to the front of the classroom to make the morning announcements. "Just a quick note for Saturday," the teacher began, scanning the room. "Our class in Class 1A will be spending the entire morning in the main auditorium." After a few more brief updates, the morning lessons began. A lunchtime encounter. When the lunchtime bell finally rang, Ochako jogged down the hallway to meet up with her friends. "Hi, everyone. How were your classes?" "Excellent, as always," Saiko declared with a proud, playful tilt of her chin, making Ochako giggle. As they were deciding where to eat lunch, they heard hurried footsteps. Izuku came jogging toward them, looking flustered and worried. Naruko's smile faded slightly. Izuku was the boy who had accidentally shared some of her private secrets with others, and she was still feeling a little hurt about it. "Naruko, please wait," Izuku called out. "I need your help. Could you talk to the teachers and ask them to let my friend Katsuki join the special study program?" Naruko frowned gently but stood her ground. "Izuku, you shared my secrets without asking, and now you want me to help a boy who was not very kind to me? I am sorry, but I cannot do that. Please leave me alone." Izuku looked sad and tried to speak again, but Ochako stepped in, giving him a firm but polite look. "Please respect her wishes, Midoriya. Let's just drop it for now." The healing power of friendship. Feeling a little overwhelmed by the encounter, Naruko quickly walked down the hallway until she turned a quiet corner and took a deep breath. Her friends hurried to catch up to her. "Naruko," Pony whispered, stepping in front of her with open arms and a caring look. "Do you need a hug?" Naruko blinked, her grumpy expression instantly softening. After a moment, she stepped forward and wrapped her arms around Pony. Saiko and Ochako immediately joined in, wrapping the blonde girl in a warm, comforting group hug. "Do you feel a little better?" Ochako asked softly. "I do," Naruko whispered, a tiny smile returning to her face. "Thank you, everyone." They decided to eat outside at Naruko's favorite quiet spot on the grass. To their surprise, their classmate Juzo walked by and asked to join them. "I am starting to think you are a bit of a softie hiding behind a grumpy face," Juzo teased with a friendly laugh between bites of his lunch. Naruko playfully narrowed her eyes. "If you keep teasing me, I might just give you a very grumpy glare." Her friends giggled, knowing she was entirely harmless, and they enjoyed the rest of their sunny lunch period together. Movie night and new plans. Later that evening, back at the dorm, the girls settled into the common room. Pony was comfortably resting her head on Naruko's lap while they watched an old superhero movie. Naruko absent-mindedly patted her friend's hair as the film played. "This is so silly," Saiko giggled, watching the television screen. "He just puts on a pair of normal glasses, and suddenly no one recognizes him? I know, right?" Naruko laughed softly. "My mentor loves these old movies, but they are very goofy." As the movie played on, Naruko looked down at her friends, feeling incredibly lucky to have them in her life. "You know," Naruko said quietly, catching Ochako and Saiko's attention. "About that slumber party idea. I think I would really like that tonight, if you are all still up for it." "Absolutely." Pony cheered, sitting up with a bright, happy smile. "It sounds perfect," Saiko agreed happily. Ochako beamed, clapping her hands together. "We will go grab our favorite pillows and blankets and meet you upstairs." Naruko leaned against the wall next to the first-floor elevator, waiting patiently for her friends to come down from the girls' wing. Pony was the first to arrive. She wore a navy blue, cloud-patterned top and orange pajama shorts, happily carrying a folded yellow blanket, a pillow, and a pair of fuzzy caps resting on top. "Are Ochako and Saiko coming?" Pony asked. "They aren't down yet," Naruko smiled. "Want to wait here with me?" Pony nodded cheerfully. They didn't have to wait long before the other two girls appeared. Ochako wore a simple yellow shirt with pink shorts, carrying her own pink blanket, a pillow, and a pair of soft, thumbless mittens. Saiko followed in a lovely lavender nightgown and cozy slippers, holding a periwinkle blanket. "Did we make you wait long?" Ochako asked warmly. "Not at all," Naruko replied, pressing the button to call the elevator. Once the doors opened, They stepped inside, and Naruko pressed the button for the top floor. She glanced at her friend's unique sleepwear. I take it the mittens and caps are special sleeping gear? Yes. My sharp horns, Pony explained, pointing to her head with a smile. They can accidentally make tears or scratches in the bedsheets. My caps stop that from happening. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Ochako hummed in understanding. As for me, my quirk makes whatever I touch float. My mittens prevent me from accidentally sending myself or my blankets floating away in my sleep. It happened a lot when I was little, and my parents would find me bobbing near the ceiling. She giggled softly. My mom knitted these for me, and I absolutely love them. Ochako's beaming smile warmed the elevator, and her friends felt a sudden urge to give her a big hug just as the doors chimed open on the top floor. The group stepped out into the hallway, but Ochako paused, looking around in surprise. There was only a single door where multiple rooms should have been. This one is mine, Naruko said, stepping up to unlock it. She glanced over her shoulder. Remember how I told you the school went a little overboard trying to make me comfortable? They combined 4 rooms into one, didn't they? Psycho guessed, catching on quickly. Yep, and they added a few extra things too, Naruko sighed good-naturedly, pushing the door open. The girl stepped inside and gasped. The space was incredibly large and beautifully decorated. In the back, there was another door that clearly led to a massive personal bathroom. There was a huge, comfortable bed against the right wall covered in bright orange blankets, alongside a neatly organized desk, bookshelves, and a wide closet. Near one of the 4 large windows sat a small, charming indoor planter box filled with greenery. Let me move a few things out of the way for you, Naruko offered, shifting some extra pillows off the bed so the girls could set their blankets down. Pick whichever spot you like best. Where do you usually sleep? Psycho asked, gesturing to the wide mattress. Right in the middle, Naruko answered, grabbing her pajamas from a drawer. I'll go change in the bathroom first. When Naruko stepped back out, she was wearing a simple black t-shirt and orange pajama pants. Psycho noticed that Naruko had many old scars across her arms and feet from past adventures. Psycho kept her thoughts entirely respectful, simply admiring her friend's bravery and resilience. Naruko sat on the edge of the bed and gently let out her 9 magnificent, swishing tails. Wow, Psycho breathed, sitting nearby. Can I ask why you keep them hidden during the day? Just out of habit, mostly, Naruko explained as she slid under her orange blankets. They can get in the way sometimes, and occasionally, they act like they have minds of their own. Really? Ochako asked, lying down on Naruko's right side, while Pony settled on her left and Psycho cozied up next to Ochako. Like what? Well, Kurama really dislikes foolish behavior, and she will playfully swat at people who are being too loud. Naruko laughed softly. Kurama? Psycho blinked curiously. That's the name of one of my tails, Naruko explained. There's Shukaku, Matatabi, Isabu, Son Goku, Kokuo, Seiken, Chomei, Gyuki, and Kurama. She pointed to each fluffy tail in turn. Those are wonderful names, Psycho hummed, smiling. Thank you, Naruko said, a faint, happy blush on her cheeks. I'm going to turn the lights off now, is that okay? The girls murmured their agreement, and one of Naruko's tails stretched out to flick the light switch before tucking right back under the warm blankets. Naruko, Pony spoke softly in the dark. Are your scars sensitive to touch? No, not really, Naruko reassured her. They're completely healed. Then I will cuddle, the equine girl declared softly, scooting closer and gently wrapping her arms around Naruko's arm, resting her head peacefully on Naruko's shoulder. Good night, everyone, Ochako whispered, leaning comfortably against Naruko's other side. Good night, Psycho echoed, wrapping her arms gently around Ochako. Good night, y'all, Pony murmured. Night, Naruko whispered back. Surrounded by her friends, she felt so relaxed that she drifted off to sleep in a matter of minutes, and soon, the whole room was resting peacefully. The next morning in the kitchen, the group sat around eating breakfast after freshening up. Did you sleep well, Naruko? Psycho asked over her bowl of cereal. I really did, Naruko smiled. It usually takes me a long time to fall asleep, but last night it was so fast. Then it worked. Psycho beamed. Should we make it a regular thing? Like every night? Pony asked, sounding incredibly eager. While that sounds wonderful, we probably shouldn't do it every single night, Ochako reasoned gently. We wouldn't want to cause any misunderstandings or break the dormitory rules if a teacher does a surprise check. I agree, Naruko nodded. I don't want to get any of you in trouble. Let's aim for maybe once a week? Pony and Psycho both perked up happily, agreeing that once a week sounded like a perfect, special tradition. Later that Friday, the final school bell rang, signaling the end of a long week of tests. Oh no. Kosei groaned dramatically. I don't think I remembered a single thing on that last page. Maybe you would have done better if you had studied with us instead of goofing off, Yosetsu teased lightly. As the class chatted about their test results, Naruko quickly packed her bag. What's the rush? Manga asked, noticing her moving faster than usual. Escaping, Naruko said with a playful, mysterious smile. If anyone comes looking for me, don't believe a word they say. With that, she dashed out the door, leaving her classmates blinking in confusion. Moments later, the classroom door slid open, revealing two older girls. One had lovely pink hair and cloud-like earrings, while the other had adorable canine features, including a fluffy collar of fur and friendly brown eyes. Hello there. Is Naruko around? The pink-haired girl asked brightly. And you are? Itsuka asked politely. I'm Fuwa Moata, and this is Inui Chihiro, she introduced herself and her dog-like friend. We're second years. Naruko just left in a big hurry, Jirota explained, adjusting his glasses. May I ask why you're looking for her? We just wanted to catch up with our favorite junior, Moata sighed playfully. She's always running off. Come on, Chihiro, let's go find her. I do love a good game of tag, Chihiro smiled sweetly, and the two dashed away. Before the class could even process that, the door flew open again. A bubbly girl with fawn-colored hair poked her head in. Naru sweetie. She sang out. Where's my favorite little spark? Who are you? Setsuna asked, thoroughly bewildered. I'm Yutsushimi Kami, second year. The girl waved cheerfully. Have you seen my bestie, Naruko? You just missed her, Sen answered awkwardly. Thanks. Kami spun around and zoomed down the hall. Wait up, Naruko. What is happening? A student muttered. The door slid open a third time. This time, a group of 4 third-year students stood there. A blonde boy smiled gently, while a blue-haired girl was being lightly held back by her friend to keep her from bouncing off the walls. Hello. I'm Tagata Mirio, the cheerful boy said. Did Naruko happen to come through here? Suddenly, the blue-haired girl wiggled free with a dramatic gasp. Kenranzaki got her, she shouted enthusiastically, flying down the hallway. We have to rescue her. Oh dear, nay higher, wait. Her friend called out, chasing after her. Mirio smiled apologetically at the stunned classroom. Please excuse us, he said, jogging after his friends. The classroom sat in total silence for a few seconds. Who in the world is Kenranzaki? Yosetsu finally asked, throwing his hands up in the air. Deciding they had seen enough excitement for one afternoon, the class quickly finished packing their bags and hurried home for the weekend. Wow, that sounds pretty crazy. Ochako whistled as she walked into the common room with Saiko and Pony after they told her about the people who showed up at their classroom. Do you think they're part of a group that Naruko knows? They must be, Saiko hummed. But we can ask Naruko. Her head tilted back to think, but she blinked a few times at something, and her friends looked up after noticing her surprised expression. Up on the ceiling, Naruko was sticking to it while sipping her ramen cup, holding it with both hands as if she were just lying on the floor, and she stared back down at them. Hi there, didn't anyone else come with you? Naruko asked. No, just us. The surprised brunette girl lifted her hand up in greeting as they watched the blonde girl flip off the ceiling and land gracefully on the floor on her feet. Chakra? Pony asked. Chakra, she nodded. If I apply chakra to my soles or any surface of my body, I can walk on and stick to anything, like a ceiling or a tree, for example. I can even walk on water. Wow, that's amazing. Saiko clapped her hands together, and her friends nodded their heads in agreement. When did you discover and develop this technique? I was 12, almost 13, I think, and it was by pure accident. Naruko put her empty cup away in the recycling bin. I was running away from a strict teacher and a loudmouth hero because they wouldn't stop giving me extra chores, and they chased me to a dead end in the back of the school. Instead of stopping, I just ran straight up to the wall. Then up the wall to the roof, she chuckled lightly to herself. You should have seen them freaking out. They didn't even think to stop and tumbled right into a big pile of leaves, getting all dizzy and having to sit right there. That drew a small, bright laugh from the girls. I assumed these nicknames would be Midnight and... Ochako tapped her chin several times to think. Yup, and 13, she replied. Really? The gravity girl gasped in surprise at the name of her favorite heroine. Naru, Pony spoke up to get her attention as the girls put their bags down to sit on the comfortable couch. Do you know? She tried her best to recall the names, counting on her fingers. Fuwa. Inui. 2. Tagata. Ama. Amajiki. Hato.
You.
Otsu. She glanced at her genius friend for help. Her name was Yutsushimi, I believe, Saiko recalled with her index finger resting on the side of her chin. Oh, unfortunately, I do, Naruko sighed lightly. A bunch of highly energetic folks. She muttered under her breath. Besides Haya. And Kenranzaki? The genius asked. Hato shouted this name out before she ran away. Oh, her too, she sighed again with slumped shoulders as they stared at her curiously. She's a third year from the support department. Are they the only handful that you know, or? Ochako asked. Yeah, they're pretty much everyone I know, Naruko said. There are others from their classes, but I barely interact with them. Oh, I see. The brunette hummed. Do they know where you live now? No, not until they ask the staff or figure it out themselves, she replied. If they come here, do you want us to let them in or ask you beforehand? Saiko asked nicely. Ask me first, Naruko replied, and her friends gave her their cheerful affirmations. I'll be in my room. She headed up to her room, and the girls also decided to go to their own rooms to rest. The next morning, the group of 4 was having their breakfast in the kitchen when the cheerful sound of the ringing doorbell reached their ears. I'll get it. Ochako got up since she was closest to the doorway, and she answered the door to see the girls from her class in Class 1B. We're here. Mina grinned widely, clutching a bright duffel bag and a cozy sleeping bag against her chest. Oh, so early. The gravity girl was surprised to see everyone here. And together. She invited them all inside. Come in, come in. Thank you, and if you want to blame someone, blame them. Itsuka looked pointedly at Mina, Toru, and Setsuna. They woke us up way too early. The early bird gets the worm, early to bed, early to rise, and all that jazz. Setsuna grinned toothily before she spotted her other classmates. Hey, guys. It didn't go unnoticed by everyone when Naruko put her gloves on, barely giving them a glimpse of a small bandage before she covered it up. Hello, Saiko greeted back warmly as she took a sip of her tea, holding the cup with both hands. Hiya. Pony yawned, and Naruko merely hummed a polite greeting as she ate some fluffy eggs. I take it that the resident blondes are not morning people? Kyoka muttered with a smile before she turned her head to the gravity girl. So, where do we put our bags? You can put them in the closet. Ochako pointed at the closet, then over at the corner. Or right over there. Some placed their things in the closet, and others set them neatly down at the corner. Do we have enough food for tonight and tomorrow? Tsuyu asked thoughtfully. Yes, we do. The gravity girl confirmed with a bright nod. I'll show you where the bathrooms are when we get back from school. Sounds good. The punk-styled girl twirled her earphone jack as the 3 teenagers finished their breakfast. Oh, we're supposed to go straight to the auditorium today, right? That's correct, Momo said as Naruko got up, and suddenly, someone noticed something delightfully different about her. Wait, you have 9 tails? Kanoko squeaked out in absolute surprise, and the rest finally noticed her beautiful tails as she playfully wrapped them into one thick, bushy shape. Yup. Naruko walked toward the door. Oh, you hide them very well. The mushroom girl followed her along with the others. It really looks like you have just one tail. That must be one handy skill you've got there, Setsuna whistled. When did you pick this one up? At the magical zoo, after a silly mishap during a magic trick made one of them turn invisible for a while when my second tail first came in, the fox-tailed girl answered with a cheerful smile, causing the green-haired girl to stumble slightly in surprise as most blinked in wonder. The body-splitting girl stuttered. What a magical story. She honestly didn't know what else to say, and Naruko just brushed it off with a happy shrug. I heard that students have to ask permission at the front gate to come into UA on a day off. Is that true? Mina spoke up. Yes, you need a good reason to enter the campus grounds. For example, a support student needing to work on their fun project in the studio will be escorted there by one of the staff, and someone will keep a helpful eye on them, Saiko explained. There's a curfew too, Ochako added. Anyone who doesn't live in a dorm or have permission to stay over, like you girls, will be safely escorted out right away, and all residents will go and stay in their dorms after curfew. Except for me sometimes, Naruko muttered under her breath, which earned a couple of curious looks. Then that means we can have a little pool party tomorrow without worrying about any snooping classmates around. The pink girl grinned widely. What do you say, guys? How about? I'm sorry, not everyone brought their swimsuits, Tsuyu cut her off politely but bluntly. Maybe next time. Most of the girls nodded at that. Aw. Mina pouted softly. Oh, morning. The group glanced over to see Juzo approaching them from the gate with Togaru, Manga, Sen, and Yosetsu. Some noticed the rest of their classmates arriving in the distance one by one or in small, chatting groups. Good morning, Ibara greeted back politely as the students entered the main building of UA. Do you all remember that we are going to the auditorium directly today? Yeah. Sen nodded with several boys, while the others remembered it at the vine-haired girl's helpful reminder. Naruko, some people from both second-year and third-year classes showed up yesterday asking for you. Manga moved closer to the blonde teenager as Class 1B remembered the event, while most of the Class 1A students looked curious and puzzled. A pretty girl called you. Naru sweetie. Everyone turned to see Kami rush toward them with widely spread arms. That. The word balloon-headed boy pointed with a giant sweat drop, and Naruko suddenly jumped up with a flip, sticking herself to the ceiling. She walked away normally upside down as if she were walking on the floor, while most teenagers who didn't know about her powers gasped in shock. Aw, poodles. Kami ran right under the upside-down blonde to pout up at her. Please come down, Naru sweetie. No, I'm okay up here. Naruko walked down the hallway on the ceiling, and some teenagers giggled at the sight of the second-year girl jumping up and down with waving, grabby hands. Excuse me, why are you calling her that? Ochako called out to her. Because she's going to be my absolute best friend forever. The fawn-haired girl winked over her shoulder as several teenagers smiled brightly at that. Nope, the fox-tailed blonde huffed playfully. You will, once I break through the walls around your heart and win you over with my charm and friendship. Kami cooed up to her with her fists tucked neatly under her chin. Just you wait, Naru sweetie. Oh boy, Naruko sighed good-naturedly. Wait, why do you like this girl so much? Mineta whined loudly. Because it's true friendship. The fawn-haired girl cut him off. I adore her so much. And why, you must wonder. It's because. Kami was walking across the street, and suddenly, a runaway ice cream cart sped toward her. Oh my gosh, the brakes are broken, I can't stop. The vendor shouted frantically with wide, wacky eyes, and the fawn-haired girl gasped in surprise before someone gently pulled her back out of the cart's way. The cart tipped over on its side with a soft crash into a pile of fluffy pillows. Bright flower petals magically floated from the cart, scattering all over the street as she looked up into the bright blue eyes of her savior. Are you all right, my friend? Naruko said down to her as she held her gracefully in a gentle dip. Why yes. Kami blushed with a sparkly, starry-eyed expression. Thank you, my hero. Their heads slowly moved close as they shared a warm, friendly hug. Everyone stared at Kami as she hugged herself with a dreamy face, completely losing herself in her own imaginative story. No, that's not what really happened. Naruko waved her hand a few times with a flat expression. What happened was. 13-year-old Naruko stared at the stoplight, feeling slightly annoyed as she grumbled under her breath until Kami walked past her with her eyes fixed to the smartphone in her hands. Walking right toward a giant puddle of messy mud. This silly girl. Naruko quickly pulled the gasping girl out of the way of a fast, splashing bicycle and gently dropped the girl on a dry patch of grass. Please be careful and watch where you are going. Kami stared up at her for a moment before she suddenly made a sparkly face with clasped hands and a huge smile, causing the blonde girl to be utterly bewildered by her bizarre, happy reaction. Oh, I see. Ochako sweat dropped along with almost everyone else. Like I said yesterday, don't believe all the tall tales you hear. Naruko walked away with a gentle huff, mumbling something under her breath, and the teenagers resumed their walk as some gave Kami a funny look since she was still lost in her whimsical fantasy. Some teenagers questioned themselves if they were seeing things because there seemed to be actual floating cartoon hearts spinning around her. When they got near the auditorium, Naruko dropped safely from the ceiling to the floor, and they entered to see Principal Nezu and most of the staff waiting on the stage. Welcome. Nezu lifted his right paw out to greet the students. Please take your seats. You're free to sit anywhere you want. He suddenly pointed some students out. But Mineta, Kaminari, Tsuburaba, and Kurohiro have to sit right here in the front. Why? Mineta wailed. I want to sit next to the snacks. Aizawa's eyes flashed, and the noisy boy shut up immediately. F front seats SS sound good. He sat down quickly, and both Denki and Kosei picked their seats in the front, not wanting to get in any trouble. Shihai sighed in defeat as he sat down in front. He had really wanted to sit next to Kanoko or sit somewhere where he could chat with her. Where do you want to sit? Ochako asked her friends. In the back. Naruko walked to the back near the corner, and she ended up sitting with Pony and Saiko on her left side, and Ochako and Tsuyu on her right side. Juzo and Manga sat in front of the group, and they were joined by Fumikage and Koji. The bird-headed boy preferred the corner of the dark while the incredibly shy boy just wanted to hide comfortably in the background. What's that? An act of disguising fraternizing between classes. Nato was about to make a snide comment at what appeared to be rule-breaking, but Vlad King cut him off. Ma no ma, front and center. Vlad King barked while pointing a finger, and the copycat student obeyed with a quiet mumble. She's not going to sit with us again? Izuku glanced over his shoulder at Ochako from a distance as he sat with Tenya, who had been rather quiet lately, behind Minata's seat after hearing Nato's failed call-out. They used to sit together at the beginning of the year until she drifted away from him and Tenya around the sports festival and was often seen with the girls during classes. Don't get him wrong, he was very glad for her to make some new friends, but one thing he didn't quite understand was why she kept hanging out with Naruko. It couldn't just be because they lived in the same dorm. Ochako was a nice, sweet, and cheerful girl, and Naruko was. Well, Naruko. This girl was always doing things her own way and causing quite a bit of harmless, unpredictable mischief, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. Now, may I have your attention, please? Nezu clapped his little paws together as soon as the last student sat down. I have some important announcements to make before the main speech. Please don't tell me it's gonna be another long speech. Yosetsu muttered lowly, his legs were going numb already. If anyone has submitted their costume designs to a Deetnarat branch and received an outfit that does not match their original design, please visit Power Loader for a redesign if needed, the principal said kindly. He will have your costumes perfectly ready by Monday. Of course, you can apply for a redesign if it's not made by this company, too. I sent my design form there, Ochako whispered to her friends with a surprised gasp. May I ask why this is necessary? Jiroda politely raised his hand up. Apparently, a small designing team decided to add far too many sparkly, overly flashy, and impractical accessories to the heroine's costumes without asking, Nezu replied with a serious nod. They have been dealt with. There were some mumbles among the students before he clapped again to get their attention once more. Next, there will be a couple of fun changes with your classes after the workplace experiences. Each class will have a new student joining, making it 21 seats instead of 20, and there will be a swap. Temporary or permanent? Hanta raised his hand up to ask. Permanent, the principal answered warmly. A class party. Minato cheered happily. I can't wait to have all these new friends in my class and have everyone share their treats with me once I show them my cool moves. Class 1B can have Jiro. Aizawa's sharp glare shut him up immediately, while the girls shot him mildly annoyed looks from different directions in the room. With the announcements out of the way, I will start the speech. Nezu cleared his throat before he started his long speech related to the workplace and school rules, and it went on and on to some of the teenagers' mild dismay. That's all for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, this is 6 Path Weeb signing off.